I was sitting in my car after work scrolling through Facebook when I saw it. My girlfriend had just posted something that made my whole world stop. The words read, "Sometimes you have to walk away from toxic men." My heart dropped. The comments were flooding in with support for her. Everyone was telling her she deserved better. And there I was, apparently the toxic man she was talking about. But instead of defending myself, I did something nobody expected. I liked the post and commented, "I agree." Before we get into this story, let me know where you are watching from today. Drop your location in the comments below. And if you have ever been accused of something you did not do, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Sometimes the best response to an accusation is not defense, but agreement. Let me tell you why that one click changed everything. My name is Archie, and 2 years ago I thought I had found the love of my life. I was 28 years old, working as a software engineer at a tech company in Austin, Texas. Life was pretty stable. I had a nice 2-bedroom apartment, a decent salary, and a routine that kept me grounded. I was never the type of guy who sought drama or attention. I preferred solving problems with logic rather than emotions. Social media was just a tool for me to stay connected with family, nothing more. She was 26, working in marketing for a startup downtown. We matched on a dating app, and from the very first message, something clicked. She was witty, charming, and had this infectious energy that made me smile every time my phone buzzed with her name. Our first date was at a small coffee shop near the river. She talked about her dreams of traveling the world, building her own brand, and living life to the fullest. I talked about my projects at work and my plans to eventually buy a house. We were different, but I thought that was a good thing. The first few months were incredible. Lauren knew how to make any ordinary day feel special. She would surprise me with lunch at my office plan, spontaneous weekend trips, and fill my apartment with laughter. I fell hard and fast. After 8 months of dating, we decided to move in together. It felt like the natural next step. I remember the day we carried boxes into the apartment, both of us grinning like kids on Christmas morning. I genuinely believed we were building something that would last forever. But looking back now, there were signs I chose to ignore. Lauren was obsessed with her image on social media. Every meal we ate had to be photographed first. Every outing required the perfect angle for Instagram. At first, I found it endearing, just a quirk of her generation. But then she started asking me to pose for pictures constantly. Couple goals, she would say, positioning my arm around her waist for the 10th time until the shot was perfect. I hated taking pictures, but I did it because I loved her. Then the comparison started. Lauren would scroll through Instagram and show me photos of other couples. "Look how romantic they are," she would sigh. "Why do not we ever do things like that?" I would point out that we just went hiking last weekend, or that I cooked her favorite dinner 2 nights ago. But somehow it was never enough. She wanted grand gestures, public declarations of love, things that would look good on a screen. I tried to adapt to be more romantic in the ways she wanted, but the goalposts kept moving. The real tension began when we started talking about money. Lauren loved to spend. Designer bags, fancy restaurants, weekend getaways to trendy destinations. I was more conservative. I had been saving for years to put a down payment on a house. Every time I suggested we scale back on expenses, she would roll her eyes and call me boring. "You do not know how to enjoy life," she would say. "What is the point of making money if you do not spend it?" I tried to explain that I was thinking about our future, but she did not want to hear it. In her mind, I was the problem. I was the one holding us back from living our best lives. The worst part was that I started to believe her. Every argument ended with me apologizing, even when I was not sure what I had done wrong. I began to question myself constantly. Was I really that boring? Was I the reason she was unhappy? The doubt crept in slowly, like poison dripping into my veins, and Lauren knew exactly how to use it against me. Things got worse after the first year. Lauren's behavior shifted from occasional complaints to constant control. She did not like me spending time with my friends. Whenever I mentioned going out for drinks with my coworkers, her mood would change instantly. "Who is going to be there?" she would ask, her voice sharp. "Are there going to be any women?" I would reassure her that it was just a casual gathering, but she would call me repeatedly throughout the night. Every 30 minutes my phone would buzz. "Where are you now? Who are you talking to? Send me a picture." It felt suffocating, but I told myself she was just insecure and needed reassurance. Then she started going through my phone. At first, she asked permission, and I gave it because I had nothing to hide. But soon, she did not bother asking anymore. I would come out of the shower to find her scrolling through my messages, reading emails from my boss, checking my search history. When I confronted her about it, she turned it around on me. "If you have nothing to hide, why do you care?" she said, tears welling up in her eyes. "Do you not want to be transparent with me? Do you not love me?" And just like that, I was the villain again. I stopped hanging out with friends. It was easier than dealing with the interrogation that followed every outing. The gaslighting was subtle at first, but it grew more blatant over time. Lauren had a way of twisting reality until I could not tell up from down. One time, she completely forgot our anniversary of the day we first met. I had made reservations at a nice restaurant and bought flowers. When I reminded her that morning, she looked at me blankly and then accused me of never telling her. "You should have reminded me earlier," she said. "This is your fault." I was stunned. I had mentioned it multiple times that week. But she was so convincing in her denial that I actually started to wonder if I had imagined those conversations. Her favorite phrase was, "You always make me feel bad." She used it like a weapon, shutting down any attempt I made to express my feelings. If I said I was hurt by something she did, she would flip it. Suddenly, I was the one attacking her, the one being unfair. I learned to keep my mouth shut, to swallow my frustrations, to apologize for things I never did. It was easier than fighting a battle I could never win. The breaking point came at my mother's 60th birthday party. It was a big deal for my family. My mom had been planning it for months, and everyone was excited. I told Lauren about it weeks in advance. She agreed to come, but her enthusiasm was non-existent. On the day of the party, she complained the entire drive there. "Why do we have to stay so long? Your family is so boring. They do not even like me." I tried to reassure her, but her attitude did not improve. At the party, Lauren sat in a corner with her arms crossed, barely speaking to anyone. My mom tried to engage her in conversation, asking about her work, her family, her hobbies. Lauren gave one-word answers and kept glancing at her phone. I could see the hurt in my mother's eyes, but she smiled through it like she always did. After exactly 1 hour, Lauren tugged on my sleeve. "We are leaving," she announced. I wanted to stay longer to celebrate with my family, but the look on her face told me arguing was pointless. In the car ride home, Lauren unleashed. "Your family is so boring," she said. "They have no class. I cannot believe I wasted my time there." Something inside me snapped. This was my mother. She was talking about the woman who raised me, who sacrificed everything for me. I wanted to scream, to defend my family, to tell Lauren she was being cruel, but I did not. I sat there in silence, gripping the steering wheel, swallowing my anger. I was too tired to fight. But that night, lying in bed next to her, I started to see the truth. Something was very wrong with this relationship, and it was not me. Lauren's social media presence became another source of pain. She curated this perfect image of our life together. Photos of us, smiling captions about how blessed she was, hashtags about love and happiness. But behind every perfect picture was a fight. She would post about our amazing dinner date an hour after screaming at me for forgetting to buy her favorite wine. The contrast between her online persona and our real life was staggering. Even worse were the vague posts. Lauren had mastered the art of subtweet culture. She would post things like, "Some people just do not appreciate what they have," or "tired of giving and getting nothing back." She never mentioned my name, but everyone knew who she was talking about. Her friends would comment with supportive messages, completely unaware of the real story. I felt like I was being publicly humiliated without anyone even knowing it. My name was never spoken, but I was the villain in a narrative I had no control over. I remember one night after another exhausting argument, Lauren posted a picture of us from a vacation 6 months earlier. The caption read, "Missing the good times. Wish every day could be like this." We had literally just finished yelling at each other. I stared at my phone, watching the likes and comments roll in. "You two are so cute, relationship goals. If only they knew the truth." The day everything changed, started like any other. I had just finished a long day at work and was sitting in my car in the parking garage decompressing before heading home. I pulled out my phone and opened Facebook out of habit. That is when I saw it. Lauren had posted something new and it already had dozens of reactions. The post read, "Sometimes you have to walk away from toxic men. Know your worth, queens." My stomach dropped. The comments were filled with praise and support. "So proud of you for recognizing your worth," one friend wrote. "You deserve so much better, girl," said another. Heart emojis, clapping hands, fire symbols. Everyone was rallying behind her. And there I was, unnamed but unmistakable, painted as the toxic man she needed to escape. I sat in my car for 15 minutes staring at that post. My first instinct was to call her and demand an explanation. My second instinct was to write a long comment defending myself, telling everyone the real story. But then I stopped. I thought about the past 2 years, the manipulation, the control, the gaslighting, the way she had slowly convinced me that I was the problem, when in reality I was the victim. And in that moment, something shifted inside me. I realized that Lauren wanted a reaction. She wanted me to get angry, to fight back, to give her more ammunition for her victim narrative. But I was done playing that game. So instead of defending myself, I did the opposite. I clicked the like button on her post. Then I typed a comment, "I agree. Sometimes you really do need to walk away from toxic people." I knew exactly what I was saying. I was not agreeing that I was toxic. I was agreeing that walking away from toxic people was the right thing to do, and I was talking about her. My phone rang within minutes. Lauren's name flashed on the screen. I answered calmly. "What the hell is that supposed to mean?" she screamed. Her voice was shrill, panicked. She had not expected this response. "Exactly what it says," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "I agree with you." "You agree with me? What does that even mean, Archie?" "It means I think you are right. Sometimes you do need to walk away from toxic people." There was silence on the other end. I could tell she was confused, trying to figure out my angle. This was not how the script was supposed to go. I was supposed to grovel, apologize, beg for forgiveness. But I did not. An hour later, she posted again. This time it was a picture of 2 suitcases, sitting by the door of our apartment. The caption read, "Start walking then." She thought this would scare me into submission. She thought the threat of losing her would bring me to my knees. When I walked through the apartment door, Lauren was standing in the living room with her arms crossed, a smug expression on her face. My suitcases were packed and waiting by the entrance. "There are your bags," she said. "You can leave now." I looked at the suitcases, then back at her. For a moment I felt a pang of sadness. This was not how I had imagined things ending. But then I remembered every cruel word, every manipulation, every time she made me feel like I was not enough. "Thank you for packing," I said calmly. "You saved me the trouble." Her expression changed. The smugness faded, replaced by confusion. "Wait, what?" I picked up my suitcases. "You asked me to walk, so I am walking. Away from the toxicity. You are just going to leave." Her voice cracked. "Just like that, you are not even going to fight for us." I paused at the door. "I have been fighting for us for 2 years, Lauren. But I was fighting alone, and I am done." I walked out of that apartment without looking back. The cool evening air hit my face as I loaded my bags into the car. I could hear Lauren yelling something from the doorway, but I did not stop to listen. For the first time in years, I felt free. Of course, Lauren did not let it end quietly. That same night, she posted a long, dramatic status about how I had abandoned her, how I was cold and heartless, how she had given me everything and I threw it away. The comments poured in with sympathy and support. But this time, something was different. A few people started asking questions. "What happened, though?" one mutual friend commented. "There are always 2 sides to every story." I did not respond to any of it. I did not post my own version of events. I did not try to clear my name. I just let the silence speak for itself. And slowly over the following weeks, people started to notice the pattern. Lauren was always the victim. Every relationship, every friendship, every job, someone was always doing her wrong. The narrative started to crack. The first few weeks after leaving were harder than I expected. I crashed at my buddy Marcus's place while I figured out my next steps. He had a spare room and did not ask too many questions, which I appreciated. Some nights I lay awake wondering if I had made a mistake. I missed the good times with Lauren, the laughter, the adventures, the moments that felt real. But then I would remember the bad times, and they always outweighed the good. One of the first things I did was call my mom. I apologized for being distant, for missing family events, for letting Lauren's attitude affect my relationships. My mom just listened, And when I finished, she said something I will never forget. "I always knew something was wrong, sweetheart, but you had to see it for yourself. I am just glad you finally did." I reconnected with old friends I had neglected. Guys I had known since college, coworkers I used to grab lunch with. I expected them to be angry or resentful, but they welcomed me back with open arms. We knew something was off, my friend Derek told me over beers one night, but we figured you would come around eventually. Their understanding meant more to me than I could express. I started reading books about relationships. Terms I had never heard before suddenly made sense. Gaslighting, narcissistic abuse, emotional manipulation, love bombing. Everything I had experienced with Lauren had a name. I was not crazy. I was not the toxic one. I had been caught in a trap that millions of people fall into every day. There was comfort in that knowledge, even if it came with pain. I threw myself into self-improvement. I joined a gym and started working out regularly. Exercise became my therapy, a way to clear my head and rebuild my confidence. I picked up old hobbies I had abandoned. I started playing guitar again, something I had not done in years because Lauren thought it was annoying. I went on hikes by myself, rediscovering the peace that comes from being alone with nature. After a couple of months, I found a small studio apartment on the other side of town. It was not much, but it was mine. I decorated it the way I wanted without worrying about whether someone else approved. For the first time in a long time, I felt at home in my own space. Work improved, too. Without the constant drama at home, I could focus on my projects. 6 months after the breakup, I got promoted to senior engineer. My boss told me he had noticed a change in my performance, a sharpness and dedication that had not been there before. I did not tell him about Lauren, but I knew she was the reason. Leaving her had given me my life back. I did not rush into dating again. I knew I needed time to heal, to understand what had happened, to make sure I did not repeat the same mistakes. I went to therapy for a few months, talked through my experiences with a professional who helped me process the trauma. It was uncomfortable at first, admitting that I had been in an emotionally abusive relationship. Society does not talk much about men being victims, but I learned that abuse does not discriminate. It can happen to anyone. About 6 months after our breakup, I saw Lauren's profile pop up on my feed. She had a new boyfriend. The photos looked familiar. The same poses, the same captions, the same hashtags about being blessed and in love. Part of me wanted to warn the guy, but I knew it was not my place. He would have to see the truth for himself, just like I did. Looking at those pictures, I expected to feel jealousy or pain, but I felt neither. All I felt was relief. Relief that I was no longer in that cycle. Relief that I had walked away when I did. Relief that I had chosen myself. If there is one thing I have learned from this experience, it is that the people who accuse you of being toxic are sometimes the most toxic people in your life. Lauren needed me to be the villain so she could be the victim, but I refused to play that role anymore. By agreeing with her post, I did not admit guilt. I reclaimed my power. I refused to engage in her game, and that drove her crazy more than any argument ever could. Silence is powerful. Walking away is powerful. You do not have to defend yourself to everyone. The people who matter will see the truth. And the people who believe lies about you were never your people to begin with. Sometimes the best way to respond to someone calling you toxic is to simply agree, walk away, and let your peace prove them wrong. I am happier now than I have been in years. I have real friendships, a job I love, and a relationship with myself that no one can take away. Lauren gave me a gift that day, even if she did not mean to. She showed me who she really was, and she gave me the push I needed to finally leave. So if you are out there stuck in a relationship that makes you doubt yourself, wondering if you are the problem, let me tell you something. Trust your gut. Pay attention to the patterns. And know that walking away is not giving up. It is choosing yourself. And you are always worth choosing. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been accused of something you did not do? Have you ever walked away from a toxic situation and found peace on the other side? Drop your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Your support means everything. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I wish you all the strength to recognize your worth and walk away from anything that dims your light. Until next time, take care of yourselves.